Once he had placed me under arrest, they kept on questioning me about all sorts of things. I kept on telling them that I was under arrest and that I would like to invoke my privilege to remain silent. They kept on becoming increasingly agitated by that and ignoring that particular request. They kept on saying, "You're not under arrest." Interestingly enough, through this entire exercise that I'll describe to you, no one ever said to me, "You are under arrest." So they sat me in the back of the car, they filled out a bunch of forms, they went and got evidence bags, and they're just all doing all sorts of different things, and I'm just sitting there. Nobody says anything to me other than when they get a bunch more forms, they still ask me a bunch more questions. It turns out that this whole group of people are sheriffs and some kind of special tactical gang force tactical thing. And I get the impression that what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to come into an area and do intensive enforcement for a couple of days to get rid of the gang problem and then go somewhere else. They're in the city of El Segundo, and El Segundo has its own police department. So why is the sheriff running around El Segundo, particularly this tactical unit? And my suspicion is that they probably could not find a whole bunch of gangs. I'm driving a Hertz rent-a-car. And I'd gone to Hertz to pick up the car, and the reservations were all messed up, so I didn't get the car I wanted to. They just gave me what they had. And what they had turns out to be this red Ford Mustang. Compounding my crime was the fact that I am wearing running shorts, sneakers, and a sweatshirt. And the sweatshirt, of course, I have the hood up. So what they saw was a black man in a brand new red Mustang with a hood, and they decided, ladies and gentlemen, that I am a gang member. Now, those of you who are familiar with the many, many other exploits that I've been involved in, you understand probably the last thing on earth I am is a gang member. But again, these folks, these police people, their understanding of the world around them is something clearly different than most Americans would see as the world picture. At some point, two of the sheriffs jump in their car and roar away. At another point, a tow truck shows up and simply takes the car that I'd rented from Hertz. I had registration for it, everything. They simply take it away. Nobody has said anything to me. No one has told me anything. Just all of these things are just like, again, in slow motion, prisoner in a cartoon that you just can't believe. Nobody tells me anything. We'll post all of the different documents, the ticket, the police report, and all of those who are not familiar with our website, EDLawsonTV.com. If you go to EDLawsonTV.com, all of that material will be posted there for your examination, and you can get some idea of what the actual details and who, again, the cast of characters are for this novella. I should make one or two comments about the sheriff who's driving me around. When we are on city streets, he is traveling at approximately 50 miles an hour as we go streaking past signs that say the posted speed limit is 30. When we eventually get on the freeway, he will be traveling between 85 and 90 miles an hour as we streak past signs that post the California freeway speed limit at 65 miles an hour. And it's curious, at no time are we using lights or sirens or anything. I don't know if the present state of California law is that the speed limits are built for police people also, but he's not offering a very good example of somebody obeying the law as he's careening around the streets. And of course, I am the back seat, handcuffed, sitting in the seat sideways because you can't sit in it in the regular configuration. Well, first stop on our little odyssey is the sheriff's station in what is called Lenox. And they take us there, or they take me there. Apparently the jails there are so bad that I think the courts made them close the jails down. And so we just sit there in a parking lot. I'm handcuffed. The handcuffs are digging into my wrists. I inform them the handcuffs are digging into my wrists. He informs me, well, they're not built for comfort. And we just sit there, and we sit there, and they're filling out more reports. Nobody has told me, no one has hinted, no one has alluded, no one has said anything as to why I am sitting in the back of a sheriff's car. No one has told me anything as to why they've taken my car. At this particular point in our little safari, they take me to the Carson Sheriff's Station. I didn't even know there was something called Carson, much less where it was located. They put me in a cell. They continue to ask me more questions, although I've told them I do not want to be questioned. They keep on asking me to sign all these papers. I keep on telling them I am not a lawyer. I am not capable of making a legal reading of all of these documents and understanding their legal meaning. That again only makes them more upset. At some point the guy says, I want you to sign this, which has something to do with urine tests. And I said, I cannot sign that. I do not have counsel with me. I then followed that very quickly by saying, look, I demand that you take urine samples. I demand it. And I said it again, and I turned to the little camera that they think they've hidden that you don't notice there. And I made the point over and over again that I demanded that he take urine sample. He says, no, he will not do it, not unless I sign this paper. I never am given the paper. I'm never permitted to hold it, much less to read it. They were asking me to sign all sorts of things. They wouldn't let me read it. The sheriff who had arrested me takes me to another room, and they do more fingerprinting and mug shot. I had to have my mug shot. And there's a sheriff by the name of Paradis. It's Paradise without an E. Mr. Paradise without an E, or Paradis, does the fingerprints, does the mug shot, and he is the first person to formally advise me, or to advise me, period, you were arrested. Not that I am being arrested. Nobody ever, anywhere, in any point in this whole cartoon said to me, you're under arrest. The first time I hear the A word is in the past tense when the gentleman who is doing the fingerprints and the mug shots, about 10 minutes after the sheriff who arrested me left me, he says, well, you were arrested. And I said, well, what for? And he said, being under the influence of a controlled substance.